Supernormal powers. Everyone thinks they're cool. And legends of extraordinary abilities exist in both the West and the East. And in Chinese history in particular, there are a multitude of writings over thousands of years talking about people who allegedly had supernormal abilities. Now, you might not believe it, and that's okay. Just take these as cool stories in that case. But in this series, I'm going to give you a load of historical accounts of these powers being used in traditional Chinese society. This is Supernormal Powers in Chinese History, Episode 1, Monk Jigong. The Buddhist monk Jigong lived during the Southern Song dynasty, a time when China was weakened and the empire was confined to the southern part of the area that China covers today. Jigong is thought to have been born in the year 1148 in what is modern-day Zhejiang province. Before he was born, his mother dreamed of a beam of light, and then he popped out. As he grew up, he became a Buddhist believer. When he was 18, his parents both died, and he ended up going to Lingyan Temple in the Wulai Mountains near Hangzhou and becoming a monk. But the whole experience he endured with both his parents dying drove him to become kind of crazy. It's reported in the Lingyan Si Zhi that he wasn't your ordinary monk. People knew he was out of the ordinary. He drank wine and ate meat and was a little crazy. Monks traditionally should not eat meat, but he did. Perhaps at least some beef or chicken would have been more acceptable. Anyway, although he was crazy and he broke all the rules around contraband in the temple, the biography of Jigong says this. He would help people. He had supernormal powers, and his good deeds were many. And in this video, I want to look at two such occasions. First, let's talk about the incident where the temple needed wood for construction and Jigong delivered the logs from hundreds of miles away. At this time, he'd already been driven out of Lingyan Temple to another temple, Jingce Shi. When the abbot asked for timber, he first sourced the wood from Sichuan province 900 miles away, since this was the best wood that could be found. This is depicted in the popular TV series on Jigong from the 1980s, where he goes to the residence of a local official and asks if he can have some wood. Using supernormal powers, he covers the expanse of trees he wants with his jacket. He then uses his powers to make the logs from those trees float out of the well back in the temple in Hangzhou. Hundreds of logs came out and the monks had to receive them and pile them up. When the abbot said that they had enough and he could stop, there was one log about to come out of the well. Jigong stopped the log and left it sitting in the well. Later generations built a pavilion over this well and named it Yunmu Gujing, moving wood ancient well. And you can still see a large tree trunk in the well, which for some reason hasn't weathered away. So that is our first account of Jigong's supernormal abilities, moving logs from 900 miles away to help build a Buddhist monastery. Next, let's look at an instance where he saved the lives of a whole village. One day, Jigong was passing through a village near Lingyan Temple. He sensed danger and used a supernormal ability to look into the future and saw that a mountain was about to collapse, destroying the village. He shouted at the villagers, but they didn't believe him. They just thought he was some crazy monk. So Jigong found a wedding that just happened to be going on in the village at that time, and he picked up the bride on his back and ran off with her. The wedding party ran after him, and I guess because it was one of those small villages where everyone knows each other, basically every single person came out of their home and joined the chase. He led them out of the village, and just in time, because the mountain then collapsed, sending boulders raining down, destroying the whole village. In the TV show, they show it as a mountain flying through the air, but it supposedly was actually just more like a landslide. They took some artistic license there. But as this was all happening, Jigong realized there was still one little girl that was left in the village, and a big chunk of rock was heading right for her. So he used his palm to blast the rock back up onto the mountain. Now, I don't think he touched the rock with his palm. I think the idea is he used a supernormal power that came from his Buddhist cultivation that perhaps resembled something like what we've seen in the movies. And the really cool thing is there is actually a rock on that mountain which is called 飞来峰 or Flying Peak that has what looks like a handprint in it.
这是道济禅师济公活佛当年在石壁上以神通力留下来的五指分明的大手印。
Did you hear what the person who uploaded that video said in his commentary? He referred to Jigong as Jigong Huofo, or Jigong the Living Buddha. And that's the title that many people called him after they witnessed his supernormal abilities. Now, whether you believe that or just take it as a cool fairy tale is up to you. But if you want to see a portrayal of the story Monk Jigong abducts the bride performed on stage by Shen Yun, the world's premier Chinese classical dance company, check out Shen Yun Creations in the links below, where you can watch many different myths and legends from Chinese history, including the piece about Jigong abducting the bride. If you sign up, just search Jigong as two separate words in the search bar, and you will find the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.